Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. We made it. It's Friday. Oh my goodness, what a week. We kicked off on Monday a brand new season of Daytime Ottawa. It's been fantastic and it continues to be fantastic. My next guest, you will probably recognize her because she's been a mainstay here on Daytime Ottawa, part of the West End Studio Tour. Hard to believe they're celebrating their 29th year. Pamela Stewart joins me, an artist with the West End Studio Tours and of course co-owner of the Carleton Place Gallery. Welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
Great to have you. I hear it's been very busy for you.
It has
at the gallery, which is a good thing,
excited.
right?
Yeah, so excited to profile the deep talent that exists in the region and in the local towns and stuff around Ottawa. Yeah.
Let's talk about this tour. How long have you been associated with the tour now, Pat?
I think it's been 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do a lot of the social media management and the comms around the tour, so I'm their designated spokesperson.
Since the busy days that you and I have been talking about, right? It's been a crazy few months for you. Well, actually, I would imagine even probably a couple of years, right? Because it takes a while to put a gallery together, that's for sure.
It came together in like 3-4 months, actually.
Oh, well.
We got a little burnt out.
You could have pretended, that it's taken forever.
Yes.
Let's talk about this particular year because it's an exciting year. It's also, I guess, a heartfelt year as well because you're paying tribute to a wonderful local artist this year.
Yeah. So one of the inaugural members of the tour, David W. Jones, acclaimed painter for many decades, is no longer able to do the tour with us. And so as a group, we came together and decided that we were going to feature his art, his originals, one last time. Nice. So every one of the 14 stops is going to have at least one of his originals available to view and also for sale.
Right.
So these are a couple of his works here. He works in oils, and he's gone around North America on tour for the Royal Canadian Navy. He's shown with Alex Colville. He's been in the Winnipeg Gallery and several art galleries. Yeah. So
what a great way to celebrate an incredible career. Unfortunately, it's due to health reasons that David's not able to do it. But I love that you've all come together, right, and to showcase, and then of course to sell some of his art as well.
We sure
right?
hope so, right? It would be really nice, I think, as a going away present, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't expect you to be able to talk about all 17 artists necessarily, but let's highlight some others because you brought some other pieces along with you here. Let's talk about what I've got here over on the right.
So this is another fun kind of storyline for this year, is that one of our long-standing artists on the tour, the top painting by Paula Zubak, is going to be showcasing in the same location alongside, for the first time, her grandson.
Really?
Alexander Zubak.
Amazing.
So the bottom painting is his painting, and both of them are going to be exhibiting together for the first time, which is really fun.
So this is the first time that you've ever had two generations in the same? Yeah.
I think so, but I just think that it's really cool the way that she, had him over as a baby, and he wasn't even talking yet, but he was pointing at her paintings, and and like when he was a toddler, apparently he would correct her on colors. She'd say, "Isn't that a pretty blue?" And he would say, "Yeah, but it has purple in it," right?
Really?
And stuff.
So he had an eye for it.
Yeah, so she was the one who provided paint materials to him early on and whatever, and now he's got a really distinct style. He's very much into capturing solitude and light and shadow, and he really loves doing interior kind of paintings that capture, just a real mood, but regular objects and walls and stuff. It's just really,
love that,
really cool.
and you can see what he's done with lighting in this one, right? You mentioned that, and the shadowing that he's done as well on it, and very simple sort of spaces that he uses.
Simple, but he likes dramatic, like colors and dramatic lighting. So like his work is really moody and really unique, I think.
As I said, I don't expect you to go through every artist, but what other mediums can we see? What other types of art?
Oh my gosh, there's abstracts, there's high texture, you've got painting a la prima with like textured oils, that's Margaret Chwalkowska. You've got a Magic, which is really experimental. He mixes digital with photography with his paintings, and he even has sculptural works. So just a wide variety of artists on the tour. And then Andrea Elena is another new artist on the tour, and her work is really beautiful, abstract, expressive, textured work. And she's actually integral with the Wall Candy Art Expo coming up. So it's really nice to have kind of her with our tour for the first time as well.
Yeah. Well, you brought in some of your own pieces. You work in some different textures and textiles yourself as well, but we'll start with this one here.
Yeah, so now for something different.
Yeah, exactly. For something completely different.
Completely different. Yeah, so that is an alcohol ink-based painting on synthetic paper with liquid acrylics and finished with art resin epoxy. So my work is very flow-oriented, very visually textured as well as like physically textured.
Right.
And yeah, I'm really heavily influenced by the senses, right? So it's a multi-sensory kind of chemistry-driven kind of art.
Yeah,
so,
it is so cool. I
you.
imagine it must, like the process itself, it must be such a sort of relaxing process for you, right?
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Yeah, to a certain extent. It can be really challenging too,
Really,
but I enjoy the experimentation of different materials.
Right.
When something new comes to market, I like, okay, I'm going to play with that and see what happens when I mix it with different materials and whatnot.
Speaking of different materials, right? This is one of your pieces here as well.
Yeah, so I'm really, especially because of the economy right now, I'm going to focus not as much on my big work, but some small pieces, different price points, but also a full display of my wearable art, bags, and
because these leggings are yours as well, right? This is your art in leggings.
That's right.
That's just fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
This is also an opportunity, I guess. Are you meeting a lot of the artists in their own spaces, in their own studios?
Yeah, that's one of the things that's great about studio tours is that it's very intimate. You can have like long conversations, really dig into the process, get to know the artists. And there are a few guest artists like myself on the tour. We exhibit outside, and some are still going to exhibit outside or in their garages for health reasons, just to be safe, because COVID still exists.
Of course.
But there are a few, I think, that are inviting people back into their studios. So it's really cool to see their creative space and really dig into that with them.
And part of it happens right here in the neighborhood that we find ourselves in. Rogers TV is located in Westboro, so it's what, Westboro, and then we're heading towards what, Wellington West as well?
Yeah, so it's from, I think that it's from the east side of Woodruff all the way to the other side of Wellington West and Hintonburg. So yeah, and the boundaries are, established. And of course, we have a downloadable Google interactive map. We have a printable PDF map. The latest issue of Kitchissippi Times has a tear-out map. So yeah, and we're even going to have printouts of the map at our stations. So if people just happen upon it, they'll be able to take the map and go on.
Yeah, and I guess spread out enough that you obviously could take your vehicle, but you could make a bike ride out of it, right?
Yeah.
Go cycle through the whole thing, and these are three great neighborhoods too, right? So make a day out of it. Yeah. But it is 2 weekends, right?
It is 2 weekends, and next weekend as well as the Taste of Wellington West. So there's all sorts of stuff going on at the same time, and I love the marriage of being able to tour the art and as well happen upon great food and really experience and support the local restaurants and makers as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So again, happening this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 16th and 17th, and then the following weekend, the 23rd and 24th. And as you said, it's going to be a culinary delight and an artistic delight on that weekend as well. Pamela, great to have you back. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, visit the website for the entire schedule. We'll be right back with more after this.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Today, I helped a parent feed their family by connecting them to a food program.
Today, I helped someone connect with mental health supports.
Today, I helped a couple struggling to pay their bills access financial aid.
Every day, 211 navigators connect Canadians to critical government and community programs and services.
211. Help starts here. Hi, I'm Meg, and this is Fit Finley from Fit Over 50, and I want to invite you to join our upcoming session focused on bone strengthening exercises for osteoporosis. You are going to love the workout. It includes exercises with weights. We're going to be doing some standing exercises, and it's going to be so beneficial for you. Now, if you don't have osteoporosis, you are still welcome to join us for the strengthening workout. Hope to see you soon.
On Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. Back to talk about something important, probably something that many people don't necessarily think of, right? You buy a new home, you're getting a home built, and you know that you're going to put in an exhaust fan, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, but there are many things to think about, and my next guest is going to help us walk through all of those things you should be taking into consideration. Ryan Branton joins me, also known as Contractor Ryan, because this is a new concept you're working on. First of all, welcome. Great to have you back.
Great to be here.
Ryan will be a regular monthly guest walking us through some of these things. But this idea about Contractor Ryan, you got a brand new website.
That's right.
What's the inspiration behind this?
You are. You're the inspiration.
Okay.
You had me on here. We were talking about the process of building, and I realized not a lot of people talk about the process, right? The permits, drawings, what are the staples you need for building, renovating? So we put together a website. You can have an opportunity to chat with me about your renovation, a way to verify your contractor's doing all the right things.
Wonderful. And you've put together, you sent me one of your videos. So the idea too is you're going to send some videos and walk people through, because that first video you sent really intrigued me, because there's so many things that happen behind the walls, inside the ceilings that nobody knows about, right? And that's been a problem that you've run into quite a bit.
Yeah,
right?
For whatever reason, my phone rings a lot with messed up renovations. I don't know why I got into that, but we're doing a big series right now where we're fixing a secondary dwelling that wasn't done quite right, and we've ripped it all down, and we're recording it, and we're taking, it's more like educational. We're taking the viewer through how did we get here, and what are we going to do to fix it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk exhaust fans. So we're talking bathroom exhaust fans in particular
here? That's what
here?
we're going to get into. That's what I want to talk about,
Why is this important? Why should I be thinking about this?
Yeah, well, obviously there's a lot of moisture in the bathroom, and we need to get that moisture out of the bathroom, right? And it's all about the squirrel cage. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about squirrel cages,
the squirrel cage.
Yeah, so we have that builder grade fan, right? I'm going to take it's right here. I'm going to show it. This is the fan. This is the inside of the fan. This is builder grade. It's not really, there's not a lot of fins in there.
Right.
This moves the air, right? And we're talking about moving air. We're talking about CFM, cubic feet per minute of air that is leaving the bathroom.
Okay.
This isn't going to do it.
Show this to kids. So why? It just doesn't have the capacity to do it properly?
It'd do, that'll probably do like 90 or 80 CFM, but this is going to be very loud. It's going to get a lot of dirt on it.
Okay.
And it's just not going to perform the way you want it to perform. But that's builder grade. That's what we see in townhomes all day.
Why is it always like the least possible that they do in these developments, right? I guess because they can?
They can, absolutely. Right. It meets minimum code. And look at the size of this, this is the exhaust where it comes out, the hole, right?
Right.
Very, very small, right?
Yeah.
So that's very, very small, very, very minimal, but it does work. It does meet minimum code, but we can do better.
All right. So what is better?
So let's take a look at this one. This is what I like to call, this is what I would consider a very good one, right? So this is what your squirrel cage is. See all the fins in there? Right. I don't know if I'm showing that to the camera.
I'll put it over to Julie's camera here. So why? First of all, you're calling it a. What am I doing here?
Oh, no, that's okay.
Calling it a squirrel cage. Why do you call it that?
I have no idea, but your furnace works on the same principle. That's the squirrel cage, and it's cleanable. We could take this out and replace it. So what happens is when they get really, really loud, the dust from the moisture collects on the fins, and now all of a sudden it's not balanced. Now it's like grinding and making the sound. So this one's cleanable, and and look at the size, the difference in the exhaust, right?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Because when you said squirrel cage, you know what the first thing that came to mind is where it leaves, right?
Okay.
Because it's those plastic little things that flap like crazy. Again, probably builder's grade, right?
Yeah.
And critters can get in there pretty darn easy.
They
So I was
certainly can.
thinking you were going to show me like I don't know, some kind of mesh screen or something to put over it instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but that's a really good one that we have here. Big kind of exhaust. Another thing that we're seeing all the time, especially when the do-it-yourselfers do it, is the type of pipes they use. I see this pipe all of the time in people's attics.
Because it looks decent.
It looks great. It's flexible. You can make it longer. Super easy. The problem with this is that warm, moist air in the winter is going to hit the cold air in your attic. Now all of a sudden there's lots of moisture coming out of this, and now there's moisture dripping down from your fan, right? So we don't want to use this. It's so simple.
So this is the no, everybody.
This is the no.
This is the no.
I wouldn't want to. If we were going to use this, I'd want to insulate it. This is an insulated pipe.
Okay.
Also available at the home store, like right next to this.
Really?
Yeah. But it's double the cost, right? But this is something that I'd recommend. These are corrugated. Like it'd be nice if it was smooth, but insulated for sure. If it's going through the attic, we want.
I guess and another thing is proper fit. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You must come across, some that are going into this, right? And you're not using the the proper thing to cinch it, and so that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah.
What about maintenance? This one's nice and easy. You mentioned you can take it out.
Yeah.
As far as any of this goes,
we should be cleaning these. There's companies like duct cleaning companies that come out and clean them. We should be looking at them. A good idea if there's moisture dripping from your exhaust fan when you're having a shower, then that's kind of a sign that maybe it's not working the way it should.
Okay.
So we have looked at.
Let's talk smart technology, because smart technology is happening everywhere, but I never would have considered it for my fan exhaust.
Yeah. These things are dangerous, and let me explain why. So I got one here called the Do Stop. That's a really good one.
This one here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's really good for turning it off. Right? We don't want to hop in the shower, let all that moist air collect in the bathroom, and wait for that thing to trigger. What we want to do is hit the button, like a few minutes before we have a shower, get the airflow going, then hop in the shower, and that will turn itself off automatically.
Okay.
A common problem that I see is when people switch to these smart things is they allow it to turn on, but you're just building up that moist air in the...
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a difference? What is this
So
one?
this one's just the timer. This is that old-fashioned timer you used to have.
Yes.
That's just all that is. You set it, you press it, you forget about it, and it turns off when it needs to. I like this one a lot.
Okay, this is the Ryan Branton suggested timer.
I like this one. Yeah, absolutely. But I do have something cool to show you.
Okay.
Say you have a builder grade one like this, right? The really, really bad one.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, you can actually get an upgrade kit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
I have about like 40 seconds left.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so you get an upgrade, you get a new fan, and you get yourself a little mini squirrel cage. Right? So you're upgrading your fin, basically.
From that to that.
Yeah. So you have to make sure the models are compatible, but 90% of them are. Ironically, the one here I brought here is not, but most of the ones are. And you can just slip this in. It just clicks in, and it just plugs in like a regular outlet.
Oh, man.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
And then it goes
so simple.
Super efficient and nice and quiet.
Now, people are going to be running to grab their step ladders to check out their fans. I guarantee it. Always a pleasure, Ryan. We'll see you again next month with another topic. We'll be back with more Daytime Ottawa right after this. Don't go anywhere.
I just think everything about it. I think it's the hardest sport in the world.
You can see it in the players. You can see it in their eyes as they come off the ice and just how intense of a battle it is.
1, 2, 3, everything happens so fast out there. I guess it is like war sometimes.
Waking up at 6 a.m. 4 times a week to come into practice, it can weigh on you.
I mean, hockey in so many ways is an escape from your everyday life.
Heartbeat of Mother Earth, I feel you and embrace your warmth. I see you dancing through the trees. Your song floats on the summer breeze. Community, we come together. We are the voice of our ancestors. Thankful for how much you bless us. Feel the thunder in the drum. All our voices sing as one. Feel the power, feel the pride. Feel the drum beat deep inside. Feel the boom, feel the bass. Let's let go of time and space. It'll make you dance, it'll make you sing. Ode Wegun, Wedok Wishin. The drum will lead you, take you far. Always remember who you are.
My name is Joel Tamas. This is Red Heaven, and we are going to be playing the encore concert here in Ottawa. I got goosebumps just looking at like the lighting and the sound, and like it's very exciting to show up at a place like Shankman.
Play 4 games of bingo from the comfort of your own home each Monday at 7 p.m. for your chance to win money from our $2,000 regular bingo or $5,000 super bingo night. Kiwanis TV Bingo, Mondays at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. My next guest has worn many hats over her career. Lawyer, realtor, author, award-winning author, by the way. And we were just talking about the fact she was on this show for her first book, we believe back in 2012, which was an award-winning book, and she's gone on to write some fantastic books. Her latest is called Shadow Play. Author Peggy Blair joining me here on the show. How are you, Peggy?
I'm great. It's really nice to see you, Derek.
It's great to have you here.
You haven't changed in those 11 years
Well,
either,
you too.
so.
I mean, you're in great shape, right? You're still boxing?
I am.
As I
I'm
understand
back to boxing. Yeah.
But you do it, I mean, you're not getting in the ring with people. Are you doing it just for the exercise side of things? Or are you actually in the ring?
I'm trying to roll back time. That's my goal. Yeah.
Well, you look great, and
Thank
congratulations on the new book. As I said to you, I am so bad. I am the slowest reader on the planet. It takes me about, I don't know, 3 months to read a book, but I have started reading your book. I'm about 25% through. And what I like that you've done, at least from what I've read so far, is how you've created these characters, and you really let us know who they are from the very beginning. Because sometimes you have to kind of wait a little while into the book to sort of figure out who they are. Let's talk about some of the characters in this book and how you came up with them.
Well, Slava, who's the Russian hitman who's sent to Ottawa to kill a realtor. That's the spoiler, everybody, but it's right on the back of the book, so I don't think anyone will be too surprised. He was actually a contractor. The real-life Slava came to my house to do my hardwood floors. And he was this big, muscular, bald, charming, flirtatious, handsome guy. And then he brought in a rodeo bull rider friend to help him. So I had these two testosterone-loaded guys, ripping up hardwood. And his friend said to me, "Did you know Slava was Spetsnaz, which is FSB commandos in Russia?" And I was like, "My God, I had no idea."
Wow.
I think I was, at that point, I'd written my first 2 books, and I was getting ready to work on Umbrella Man, where Slava makes an appearance.
Okay.
So I went up to Slava, and I said, "Slava, I just heard you were like a Russian, commando. Did you ever kill anybody?" And he's like, "What for to kill when I can punch?" And it turns out he was a light heavyweight boxer in Russia as well.
Wow.
So this guy just came up with the greatest lines, and of course I'm up there with these 2 guys, and then running downstairs and kind of making notes to myself. So Slava showed up in Umbrella Man as a secondary character, and years passed since I've written another book, but I knew I had to bring him back. So that's one of the characters.
Okay.
There's Charlie Pike, who's an Indigenous character, again based on a real life person I had a crush on when I was doing First Nations work as a lawyer. Don't tell him anybody. And again, a character I really enjoyed and wanted, and had many of my Indigenous friends really enjoyed seeing a character in a book as well who reflected First Nations culture. Jamie Wallace, who's the new protagonist in this series, just kind of comes out of the air, but she is a boxer, and I've been boxing for roughly 8 years.
Okay.
So, but it's interesting you say that they all come out sort of fully fledged, because a lot of readers have said she gets developed over time. You find out more and more about her as you
and I don't think I've really met Jamie quite yet from our discussion right in the book. So
yeah, she's the person who's called on to investigate the death of this realtor, and she's just coming back from a suspension because she punched a colleague in the face that she got and then finds out she'll be assigned to work with him through this. So that's part of the tension between them that evolves throughout the story.
So I have met Jamie. Probably the reason why I don't know a lot, because the character hasn't been built to the point where I've been reading, because I am at the point where she's about to go back to work. Right.
Yeah. So you'll get to know her more and find out more about her. I mean, she really is one of the most interesting characters I've ever written, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from readers from the pre-sales.
Oh, I've seen readers on social media saying you have to keep these characters. Like they want you to write another book with these characters.
They want me to write it like tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, that's easy to do, Peggy.
No
yeah,
problem.
for sure.
It's like you spend a lifetime coming up with your first album, and you've got 2 weeks to write your next song.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds exactly the same. That's a great description. And you've decided to set it here in Ottawa. Obviously, you're familiar with Ottawa, but why Ottawa? LRT is a big part of this story as well, right?
Well, you'll see the LRT is on the cover. And that was difficult to get. I had a photographer who had to go around for weeks finding one that was actually moving. So it was a bit of a unicorn. But yeah, I mean, there was so much going on. It's set in a very contemporary time. So it's just after the Freedom Convoy. The city's still on edge. The LRT is not working properly. There's a municipal election underway. So it's kind of rooted in real time. But then I bring in characters to deal with. I'm not giving anything away. On the first page of the book, you're told that smell in Parliament Station that everyone's complained about is a dead body. So that's where we start. My first thought, a mystery author, was every time I read an article saying how much Parliament Station stunk or that there was stuff seeping out of the walls, I was like, well, of course there is. There's someone buried in there.
There's a dead body there.
So that's where we start.
You seem to weave in as well almost personal opinions about how you feel about politics in this city. Am I right in that?
Well, I think that
there's lots of fiction. It's obviously a book of fiction, but I recognize some things.
Well, I mean, it comes from my head, so it's going to reflect some of me. I mean, the characters all have different views on these things, but I do feel like the series, it was the Ramirez series that I started with, where some of these characters were first introduced, was a chance to talk about contemporary issues in politics and social justice. And for sure, I have a perspective that probably seeps in. But none of the characters are me. They're all little bits here and there, but they're all their own little people.
You have an exciting book launch. You're really putting together something really special with your book launch happening at the Barrhaven Legion. Tell me what you've got planned.
Well, because Slava, in the book, Slava was born in Ukraine and is actually a bit subversive when it comes to Ukrainian war. He's not a supporter of it, even though he's a Russian citizen. A couple of the other characters in the book are also Ukrainian. So as you know, I was involved with Ukrainian resettlement efforts because that's the last time I talked to you in an interview. And so my Ukrainian families, the people that I helped get settled, some of them, have offered to do Ukrainian food for this launch.
I love it.
So they're very excitedly developing menus.
Let me just tell everybody, by the way, thank you so much for coming. The book launch, Barrhaven Legion, that's at 3500 Fallowfield, September 26th, 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be right back after this.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
It's a new season of The New Fly Fisher on Rogers TV.
Hey, I'm Ash Ravens. I'm a singer-songwriter in Ottawa, Canada. I'm performing this week on Encore Ottawa 3, so please be sure to tune in and hope you enjoy it.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. My next guest released his latest album back in July. We're going to sit down and chat about that album. But before we do that, we'll give you a quick taste of one of his fabulous songs. It is called Save Just One More Life. This is John Dorsch.
Do the ends justify the means? What is it all for? Why are we here? Is there one more life we can save? Don't be naive. How can we keep you from the grave? Seems we're in separate places, sad excuses for phony faces, wasting time, life is sublime. There's still hope for me in the path I see, course unknown.
Again, that's called Save Just One More Life. John Dorsch is the brains behind that, and just finding out that you played every instrument on this album? Is
Apparently
that right?
I did. You got to rely on yourself at the end of the day and do it all.
Yeah, I hear you,
not,
John.
Not exactly everything. There was a bouzouki and mandolin on there, played by a dear friend of mine, Paul Johnson, and his wife, Bonnie Skiffington, does the angelic voice in the middle of the song. My wife does harmony as well.
John, my understanding is this song's very personal about your experience. You're a former police officer, right? For what, over 40
correct.
years?
I retired with 31 years service.
31 years,
The last
okay.
11 here in the city of Ottawa. I was an officer in this city, and I retired in 2021.
So tell me about that song. How would you describe it?
Well, in the last few years, there was a lot of officers that had chosen to end their life, and it was a very personal thing. It's a very difficult, stressful job, and you know you have to maintain calm in the storm that goes on there, and it's very hard to reach for help in that political environment. And it's a song of hope that you know more people would reach out, and maybe we would save just one more life at the end of the day.
It sounds like music's been always a part of your life, John, because you've been playing guitar, I know, for over 40 years, and then you play multiple instruments as well. When did music come into your life?
I became really inspired with guitar after playing accordion and things like that, and saw a picture of Jimmy Page, you know, the famous violin bow thing, and I go, wow, I gotta have some of that. This is just not happening on the accordion, but
right.
You know, so I started on acoustic, and my dear uncle took me to see his brother's touring Kingston band when I was just a kid, and I was so inspired. They played Toto and all the great songs, and they let me hold a real Les Paul and try to fumble through Taking Care of Business, and it's been a lifelong joy. Right?
Yeah, and I guess you played in a lot of different styles of bands over the years, John?
Yes, many different styles. I started off in your basic 80s pop rock, you know, 70s rock, Aerosmith, all of that kind of stuff, Boston, all the great bands, and then Van Halen. Any guitar wizard I was enamored with, and you know, then it became a pursuit for more and more depth, like Tommy Emmanuel into fingerstyle, and Django Reinhardt. I got into jazz for a little while, and now we're kind of blending it all up in my own musical soup.
I mentioned Elevation is your latest album, released back in July. Tell me about this album. What other themes do we find on the album?
You're going to find inspirational, uplifting themes throughout in the lyrics. There are various collection of songs that fell together in a theme of uplifting human spirit, right? There's 3 instrumentals on there, the title track, Elevation. I wrote that and after seeing the Andes Mountains in Ecuador 2 years ago.
Really?
On my way to Mexico, I was writing, it just came to me in the morning as we're about to leave Ecuador and go to Mexico. So I find travel inspires me. So there's been a bunch of that. Faith in Me is a series of positive messages. It's the single on the song, and it's just about being a little bit easier on yourself, in my opinion. I don't like to impose my opinion of what the music means, but you know, there's something for everyone in there. It kind of goes from acoustic fingerstyle, blends into rock band format kind of songs at different points, and displays everything I've got in music to date. Took 2 years to make that. And I recorded everything. I built the studio to do that. And
so you built your own studio at home?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was going to retire in 2021 and continue on playing with bands, and that didn't happen. Everything kind of evaporated with everybody else's aspirations for a little bit. So we focused on original stuff and decided I'm going to get more into making my own. So I actually built the studio and watched 1,000 YouTubes on how to record things properly. And
thank goodness, right, for technology. I mean, as an artist, and not just a musician, but artists of all kinds. And I'm even thinking, doing home renovations and things like that. It's been amazing, right?
It's the perfect format because you can search up anything. If you want to change a spark plug, there's a YouTube about it. You know what I mean? If you want to learn how to pick a song or a style or whatever, everybody's teaching everything about anything, right?
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
Never seen so much free information available. And we look at sometimes we look at technology and social media in a negative way, but there are positives out there. Where can people find the album, John? Elevation?
Well, it's online streaming. MTS Records put it out there, so it's on Spotify under my name, John Dorsch, or if you look up under the album Elevation. So all the songs are there, or there's Deezer and Apple Music. It's on there as well. My website is johndorschmusic.com. You can find it there. Send me a message. I can send you a CD if you want a physical copy, like some of us old guys.
I love the. I'm back in vinyl. I've got my full vinyl collection that I had when I was a kid back on. John, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on this. We'll be right back after this.
I just think everything about it. I think it's the hardest sport in the world.
You can see it in the players. You can see it in their eyes as they come off the ice, and just how intense of a battle it is.
1, 2, 3, everything happens so fast out there. I guess it is like war sometimes.
Waking up at 6 a.m. 4 times a week to come into practice, it can weigh on you.
I mean, hockey in so many ways is an escape from your everyday life.
Treaty in Cree is Naskomitoin, an oral agreement. And our agreements were always spoken. For George Spence, the core of treaty was Wichihioin, to help one another.
And so we, the commissioners...
He was there for the making of Treaty 9, where the Cree were told...
We will honor this agreement together, for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow.
The Cree made their mark because they were assured that the land would be shared, and they would always be able to harvest what they needed. George Spence was my great-grandfather. In his life, he saw many promises of the treaty go unfulfilled.
Treaties were essential to the creation of Canada. First Nations still fight for the agreements to be honored.
On Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. The environment, climate change, certainly on everybody's mind. We've seen some of the hottest temperatures that we've ever seen in record and historically. The wildfires here across Canada and other parts of the world. My next guest is going to talk about some of the latest surveys and what people are thinking about when it comes to the environment, when it comes to climate change. I'm joined by Julia Levin. She's the Associate Director of National Climate at Environmental Defense. Welcome. Great to have you here, Julia.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I mentioned those things because I think, you know, it resonates with people because they're seeing it, right? They're not only hearing about it, but, you know, we had even in this city, right? The smoke, the smell of smoke and the haze and so forth. You teamed up with Abacus Data with a survey of Ontarians, is that right, Julie?
Exactly.
What came out of that? What were some of the results of that survey?
Yeah, the results were really interesting, and I think tied to what you just said. The climate crisis is no longer something in the future. It's here. Wherever you live in the country, you're experiencing it. And so we found that a strong majority, over 80% of people in Ontario, really support climate solutions, a transition to 100% renewable energy, and they know it's the best thing for Ontario's economy. And they're frankly, they're saying that the government can't act quickly enough. So they're on board for the clean energy transition. They want to see it happening. But when it comes to the kinds of green technologies that we can bring into our own homes to kick out gas,
right,
there's less awareness about what options are available and whether some of the incentives to help people access those. So that was interesting too.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I probably speak for a lot of people, is cost, right? That's the first thing they think of is, you know what, the cost up front. But I think that's probably a thought process that we were using maybe 2 decades ago that is maybe shouldn't be the same thought process today. Am I correct in that?
I mean, there's definitely an affordability crisis happening, a cost of living crisis. I understand that people are struggling to you know, afford food and a place to live. Things that seem like big investments are scary.
Right.
So for the upfront costs of doing things like putting a heat pump into your home, there are so many government incentives at the federal, provincial, and often, like in Ottawa, at the municipal level. So your initial cost, government's really helping with those. And then when you have these technologies, because renewable energy is so much cheaper than gas, you're saving money in the long run.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of, you know, there's still a lot of uncertainty about, do these technologies work? What will they cost me? Is this going to be expensive? And there's just so many benefits to people taking that plunge. They have to do the research, find the incentives. Right. They can check out greenflags.ca to find out all that information, and taking that plunge. And of course, we all have to be doing our part to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, but the benefits go well beyond that. I already mentioned energy savings, but fossil gas in our homes is dangerous. It leads to asthma, whether it be appliances like furnaces or stoves. Like we're better off in every way in switching to electric appliances.
You mentioned the Green Flags website. Now that's something probably some people have seen trending on social media. Is that red flag, green flag? Is that sort of the inspiration behind this?
Yeah.
So for people that aren't familiar, let's say, you know, like myself over 50, who perhaps doesn't pick up on some of these things, but it has been trending. You know, when you sent me the information, I looked it up. What is that? What is the idea behind that green red flag trend?
So we're definitely, like you said, we're leaning into a trend that exists where people are talking about red and green flags, but we're making it about climate.
Right.
So we're partnering with influential Canadians to say what are their green flags when they look, in terms of what they look for in a partner that has some climate relevance. So whether that be like my green flags or someone who loves to bike to work or take public transit or wants to put solar panels on the house one day. And people are also saying, like, playing with green flags and their red flags too. What aren't they looking for? Do you have green flags that you think you?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Like, as soon as you said cycling, my wife cycled to work, I mean, for 25 years. And it wasn't a short bike ride either. She worked across the river, cycled during the winter, which, you know, a lot of people are, you see many people, you know, turning to that. So that, I mean, that's certainly a green flag for me. I think just, you know, appreciating the outdoors, which if anything came out of the pandemic for me was, I think you saw more people getting out. As soon as we told people that they couldn't leave their homes, they left their homes, right? I mean, it was fascinating to watch. So nature has always been my number one green flag. Do you love being out in nature? Do you respect it? Are you helping to protect it, right?
There you go. So your viewers can join in the trend. They can use hashtag #MyGreenFlags and tell us what they're looking for in a partner. And then part, like the purpose of our campaign is to promote awareness about options that are available for people in their homes to make more environmentally friendly choices. So I could quiz you on some flags.
Let's do it.
I gave you some clues, but let's start with heat pumps. Red or green?
Well, that's definitely a green, because I just read an article out of the UK about it and how the UK people just don't know enough about it, right? They're not implementing it just because the education isn't there.
And
right?
It's the same here. Our polling found that only 30% of folks in Ontario know about heat pumps. But these are really great tools that will cost you less in terms of energy, make your homes more comfortable, and get fossil fuels out of your home. So definite big green.
Okay.
What about an induction stove?
Induction? I'm gonna go green?
Yes, you nailed it.
Good.
You nailed it. It's not a fancy word for an electric stove. Again, getting the gas out of people's homes. What about a gas furnace?
Well, that's got to be a red, right? If we're talking heat pumps, I mean, that's the replacement, I guess, right? And there's been some concern about cold weather climates, and there's a lot of research behind it now, right?
There's a ton of really solid research out there that these heat pumps, we have new technologies that are made for cold climates that work really efficiently at -20, -30 degrees. So they're real solutions for here in Ontario that will still save you money. And the way heat pumps work, it's not like a heating system that generates heat. It actually just moves heat, like your fridge does. Your fridge moves heat outside of your fridge. A heat pump works both to increase the temperature of your homes by moving heat inside.
Interesting.
But during the summer, it's also an air conditioner in one device that makes your. So that's what's like. That's why they're so efficient, and that makes them way more affordable over the long term.
Julie, really appreciate the time today. I want to encourage everybody, visit the website again, and on social media, use that hashtag and become part of the conversation. We'll be right back after this.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university. So they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by Smart Serve Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
My name is Joel Tamas, this is Red Heaven, and we are going to be playing the Encore concert here in Ottawa. I got goosebumps just looking at like the lighting and the sound, and like it's very exciting to show up at a place like Shankman.
Play 4 games of bingo from the comfort of your own home each Monday at 7 p.m. for your chance to win money from our $2,000 regular bingo or $5,000 super bingo night. Kiwanis TV Bingo, Mondays at 7 p.m. on Rogers TV.
We can be hurt. We can be bruised. We can be broken. Slowed down, confused, and even numbed. But we can't be defeated. We're built on a foundation that's strong, our mission unwavering, and together we'll beat as one.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
It's a new season of the new Fly Fisher on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. Well, we talked off the top of the week about back to school and, preparing those lunches. And by the way, not just back to school, because a lot of us, back in our routine, going back to work, and you want to make sure you get something that is really quick and easy to take to lunch so you don't end up, spending a ton of money. And certainly you can eat out at lunch every now and then, but you have to be careful with, we talked about affordability with Julia in the last segment. Well, my next guest it's a great success story. I'll let her tell you all about it. Bukola Aguilar is the CEO of Gray Matlock Foods and Bakery. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Derek.
This company began, back in 2018? Is that right?
Okay, what happened is...
Walk me through.
It's a franchise.
Yeah.
So the franchisor is Wale from Nigeria. So when he came and he couldn't find any products like what we eat back home, the bread.
Okay.
Because we have a special bread we eat back in Nigeria. So he thought about why not bring it down here? And he started this. 2020, I stopped working.
Okay.
And I was just curious, what could I be doing? Then I was living in Whitby. And I thought about, let's do something. So I called him and I'm like, do you have any business for Ottawa? And he says he doesn't. And I'm like, I'm ready to take it up.
You're the one. You said, I'm going to be the one. Okay.
And Derek, my name is Unstoppable. So I said, I will take it up.
I love it. So how did you find out about him? Did you know about this?
I don't know.
Really?
Like, my kids love the bread.
Okay.
So anytime we go to a church, they just want to hang out, buy the bread. And when I came to Ottawa, then I used to live in Whitby.
Yeah.
When I came to Ottawa, my brother-in-law was talking about bread. And I'm like, what's this bread? He says, they bring it from Toronto. I'm like, why would they be bringing bread from Toronto when I live there? So that was why I saw business.
Okay.
During the COVID. And my family moved down to Ottawa.
So you said from Nigeria, and the recipe itself. So what makes it unique? How is this bread different than anything else I'd find in the grocery store?
It's soft.
Okay.
And it's stretchy. And that's why I brought it for you. You're going to make it yourself and tell for yourself.
All right, well, let's do it. Okay, you've got some, you want to switch positions here? You want me to come over here? All right. Because that's what I was saying. I mean, this is the perfect meal for a lunch, right? Sandwiches has always been a staple when it comes. So what have you got here? You want me to use these?
Yes.
Okay, so you've
Fix yourself.
Fix myself anything I want here? I love it. I love it. Okay. So while I'm doing this, let's talk a little bit about the product line. I mean, is it just the one style of bread?
It's just not just one style of bread. We have the wheat, and we have the low sugar, and we're still coming up with new products.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, but this is one of the best selling because we have it in all the stores. So we have it in No Freeze.
Okay.
We Canada Superstore. We have it in Montreal, Calgary, Toronto, Windsor, Kitchener.
What intrigues me mostly is because this is a really tough market to get into, right? When it comes to getting into a grocery store, how difficult is that process been?
It was a bit difficult, but because the franchisor and all the teams, we work as a team, and we done all the back end work, so we had to just push in and go there. There were some that we got no. It's okay. Remember, I said unstoppable.
Unstoppable. So what is you said you were out of work. So what was your background? What were you doing before this?
Funny enough, back home, I was into interior decor.
Really? Okay.
And when I came to Canada, I started doing childcare. I work with YMCA.
Okay.
And then from there, I just no, this is not for me because I've been an entrepreneur. And that's why I just took the dive.
So how long have you been here in Ottawa then?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
And the bakery in Ottawa is 2 years.
So yeah, I mean, that's the important thing for people to know as well, right? This isn't being shipped from Toronto anymore. You're manufacturing it here in Ottawa.
In Ottawa, and I send it to Quebec, as far as Quebec City.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, what a great success story. So over the time that you've taken over, what kind of growth have you seen so far?
I've seen tremendous growth because when we started, the bread wasn't in any departmental stores. It was just in local stores, African stores. But now we've been able to push it to all the stores, and we're still pushing more.
Yeah, and that's not easy. So I mean, hats off to not only yourself, of course, the founder and the company itself, but I've talked to so many people trying to get their products into some of those major grocery stores. It's not easy.
It's not easy, but you know what? You just have to have a story behind it. So follow your dream.
Follow your dreams.
As long as it's a dream, you just have to be dogged and follow it.
And where does that come from? So you mentioned unstoppable. Where does that, is that sort of something from your parents? Where did that?
Because
just from you?
Yes, from all the things I've gone through, I just felt like, no, I'm gonna stop. Nothing can stop me. Imagine coming to Canada and having to start all over. That could be depressing enough, because back home I was doing very well, doing buildings, and I came to Canada, I'm doing childcare.
So why did you come to Canada? What brought you here?
That's a big story.
We probably don't have enough time for it, right?
Yes, I think so. But I just don't know. I can't really tell now. But every time I feel it's because God just wants me to make a difference.
Right.
I love making difference.
Yeah.
So I think
okay, remind everybody at home. I'm going to build another sandwich here, but you remind everybody at home where you can find your product now.
And we can find the products. So you made this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
enjoy it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it with you.
I'll make some more for the crew here.
Yes, you too. So you can find our product in all the African stores, in Real Canadian Superstore, No Freeze, Loblaws, and independent stores.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all your success so far. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, I'm Ash Ravens. I'm a singer-songwriter in Ottawa, Canada. I'm performing this week on Encore Ottawa 3, so please be sure to tune in and hope you enjoy it.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
On Rogers TV.
Okay, now I'm incredibly hungry. Look at this. Sandwiches for all my friends today on the show. Fantastic show. Let's just go over a couple of things that we talked about, in particular, a couple of events that we talked about today. Number one is the West End Studio Tour. A reminder, that's happening this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, also next weekend as well. And you can find the map online, by the way, at westendstudiotour.com. That is through Westboro, Wellington West, and Hintonburg. So I believe it's about 17 different locations, 15 different artists, all different types of mediums. You'll get to meet them, some of them in the spaces that they actually create some of this art. So again, this weekend and next weekend. Peggy Blair, her book launch is happening on September the 26th. That's 6 to 8 p.m. at the Barhaven Legion. She's got some incredible menu items. The Ukraine community has really stepped up. They're going to create some fabulous dishes, and you can meet Peggy. She'll be doing a book signing there as well. She'll talk about the book, so it's a great opportunity to meet with her face to face. And a reminder, this weekend, only a few tickets left. Legends of the Sky happening in Gatineau at the Gatineau Airport. You can visit the website to find out more information. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week here on Daytime.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Ottawa, it's the national capital of Canada. But how much do you know about the city's history? This is Phil Jenkins. Join me as I take you on a journey through Bytown's beginnings, Ottawa's crowning as capital, amalgamation, and its becoming a city of 1 million citizens. Watch The History of Ottawa according to Phil Jenkins exclusively on Rogers TV.
I'm Derek Fage, and I encourage you to join me each and every weekday at 2 p.m. for